Hey, it's 11 o'clock p.m. East Coast time. You know what time it is. You're inside the Beatdown. My name's Brew, and this is the Badger. Welcome to therapy, my friend.
Already, brother. You know what time it is, man.
Bro, I got something special for you this evening. We went with the special yesterday on the Fighter Share Report, Father's Day special, Juneteenth special. Hopefully, you guys caught it. A lot of people caught that replay, man. A lot of people caught that replay.
Hey, man, that was a good call by you, man. That's why you the man with all the brains.
Oh, Lord. Well, wait till after tonight before you say that. But you can catch the Fighter Share Report every Sunday and Wednesday here on all our platforms at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Just like you can get inside the Beatdown every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all of our platforms. Bro, normally we do a Couldn't Have Been Me segment, hashtag CBM, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, we didn't do one last night. But bro, I got one for you tonight. Got one for you tonight. I guarantee you didn't see this coming. And to everybody that all the guys that like to sit around and say size doesn't matter, this proves size does indeed matter.
Let me tell you something. Anybody that ever told you size didn't matter ain't never been in a real fight before. They have weight classes for a reason, and I hope people like adhere to that kind of stuff, man. Listen, don't be run up on people, man.
Listen, not all sports have correct weight classes. That's all I say.
Listen, but you can see you got two eyes. Most people, you know what you're looking at. Hey, man, hey, listen, you start getting up 25, 30, 40, 50 pounds. That ain't the fight you want. At least not in an uncontrolled environment. So, yeah,
Right.
you need to get off that, man. Shouts out to Lavelle Tomlinson. How can I become a guest up here? Hey, brother, just chime in, man. We're going to open up the chat and maybe open up some streams as the show progresses, man. But we just thank you for tuning in and chiming and riding out with us this evening, man.
Definitely. And please comment. Let us know what you think, especially of the hashtag CBM. Because sometimes he shakes his head at me. And, that says several different things. Sometimes he just dropped the microphone and feel like he wants to walk away, but he's such a professional, he stays on camera. Tonight might be one of those nights.
I'm glad you know.
Tonight might be one of those nights.
Yeah, Lavelle might have to step in and take over for me, depending on what this look like. The night might end early for me.
I'll send you the link, Lavelle. If it's starting off like this, I'll send you the link, bro. For real. All right. Without further ado, this is called Couldn't Have Been Me. And the Badger came up with this because simply when you see stuff like this happen, it just couldn't have been me. Either I'm going to react differently or I ain't going to be in the situation in the first place. So
we getting the show kickstarted with the CBM. All right, let's do it.
Right now, you can kind of see what I'm talking about.
Here we go.
Size matters. I have never seen anything like this before in my life. You ready, bro?
Go ahead, man.
Talented shot. And another hard shot there, but pretty sure Gates is trying to say otherwise. I'm not sure that's what you want to say after chopping somebody. Do you really want to poke the bear that is Ace Romero?
Poke the bear, poke the whale.
Right. Now you're talking about a guy who's 435 pounds against a guy who's 185 pounds. Guess which one is 185? Here it come. No. Here it come. Watch out. Put the children to bed.
Yo. Hey, all right. Okay. Listen, this is what this segment is all about. That's how you CBM. That's how you CBM. Damn it. Hey, what in the holy hell? What, bruh? That was not in the script. I guarantee you that was not in the script. They had a discrepancy backstage, and Buddy Simmons is going to take this out on his ass right now, mid-show.
He got knocked into the cameraman in the eye.
Bruh, wow. That's how you CBM. From now on, that's how you CBM, bro. Don't bring no more of that weak stuff in here. From now on, that's how you CBM. If we can't get nothing like that, I don't want to see it, bro. Now that just perked me up. I just got done getting my behind beat. Some damn Greco-Roman wrestling and boxing. I'm tired. It's 11 o'clock. That just woke me up. I needed that. That's how you CBM, bro. Step your game up, man. Earn your keep around here, bro. Earn your keep. That's what it's all about right
I
there.
gotta give attribution to Empire State Wrestling. This was about almost a little over a year ago, about a year ago when this happened. I saw it on Highly Questionable today. They just showed a brief clip. I said, oh no, we got to bring this on the show. So I researched for a while before I found that.
Listen, first of all, let's unpack this, right? So,
Yes.
I mean, it just wouldn't have me. I'm not wrestling. First of all, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not that kind of wrestling. I'm not doing that. But more importantly, man, like, so we got to fight. Oh no, I'm gonna go into the trunk and we're gonna have a conversation after this match because that shit wasn't in the script. They did not write that in there, bro. You did that shit on purpose. So we got a problem, man. My children and stuff out here, people watching. Now I'm famous. Now I'm famous forever because of that. Nah, bro, you got to see me afterwards, man.
He went. He literally got launched.
Yeah.
He couldn't even reach down and grab the rope.
Yeah.
That's the part that got me.
That was impressive.
He got launched.
He might have got shot, but that was impressive, bro. That was pretty good. That was
And
pretty
he
good.
came back in to wrestle.
Well, I mean, what else is he supposed to do?
Lay there. Just lay there. Just
Nah.
you see the
You
referee? You knew it wasn't fake when the ref.
The ref got out. Yeah, the ref was like, "What the hell? This wasn't in the meeting, y'all. What are we doing? We prepped this. This ain't what we prepped."
Oh my god, that was hilarious. When I saw that, I was like, yes.
Listen. That's called when you think you got life by the horns, right?
Ooh.
Just when you think you got things figured out, shit like that happens.
And
That's how I've been feeling. That's how I've been feeling for the past couple of weeks. But go ahead.
The little guy was the champion. I still couldn't even make it through the rest of the match, and it wasn't much left.
Didn't
I
matter.
literally fell off my couch and slid on the floor laughing.
Listen, it didn't matter. But listen, man, shouts out to you, bro. That's how you see. See, now I feel like a proud coach, right? Now I shouldn't have to give you no more blueprints to the CBMs. That's how you CBM. Anything less than that, you can keep the change. You don't even want it.
That thing, man. That is CBM of the year. I'm sorry.
Oh no, listen, we got 6 more months, man. But that was pretty good. That's up there.
It's better than anyone we've really had so far. That to me, that just when I saw it, I said, "This is come on, bro. We can go back and look through the shows." I don't know. What CBM
because that was so unexpected.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I didn't know what to expect. Even when it happened, I still didn't believe what I was seeing. So, yeah, I give you that. I give you that.
Bruh, in high school, I did that to somebody by accident in the wrestling room. See, wrestlers are a strange breed. We know the rules are written on the wall. We can see the rules. We got a coach telling us what we're supposed to do. Wrestlers are like football players on steroids. It's just the emotion. And we do crazy stuff because you drill and drill and drill and drill so much in practice that when the coach leaves the room, even to take a crap, it's like, somebody keep watch. We got to do something stupid. You don't say it, but that's just what happens. I felt for him. I won't mention his name. He's a good dude. But he decided to jump on my back and try to put me in the sleeper hole. Now, mind you, he wrestled 103. I wrestled heavyweight. I didn't realize how much of a difference that made when you launch somebody off your back. His best friends just stood there and watched him go sailing across the wrestling room. Just sailing. I mean, I kind of bucked him off and I tried to grab him, but I ended up pressing him. He just went flying. And if it was in the other direction, he would hit the mat up against the wall because we had mats on 3 sides. Mm-hmm. But one side, we didn't have mats all the way across because we had a window and a portion that opened. He went sailing out of the wrestling room, bro.
So you do know that cruise ships never look like they moving real fast, right? Because they have such wide berths,
You
right?
know
It's
what?
so big,
I'm
right?
sick of you.
And but if you try to get in front of one of them things, right? It's just
I can't stand you right now.
it's not a speeding bullet by any means. But when the momentum gets going, it's kind of hard to stop. You know what I mean? You might as well just cancel that, right? We just gonna wait
Okay.
on it.
All right. Well,
For those out there listening that didn't really get a grasp for what you were trying to convey in your message, Brew was the ocean liner, and his teammate was a John boat,
he wasn't even a John boat. He was probably just one of them blow
a
up
kayak,
It's a blow up raft they threw in the water. An inner tube. He was an inner
in a
tube.
tube. Yeah,
Bro, but when you use that analogy, women, when you're trying to attract an athlete, please take heed and don't do this. Young lady on a track team, fine, decided she was going to run in front of me and slow down and stop while we're out there trying to run to cut weight.
I'm getting the feel that you were pretty abusive in high school, bro.
I was
All
not
these
abusive.
stories just keep
First of
circling
all,
back.
First of all, I was tired.
Some simple assault going on here, man. What
I
you
was
doing?
tired. I was running downhill, and I'm legally blind. What you? That's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
But that behind had a nice cushy landing.
Avalanche.
Because when she stood out in front of me, luckily I was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" But I right into her.
I bet you saw that ass, didn't you?
Ooh, well,
You
I
saw
didn't.
that ass,
My buddy
didn't
did. Because when we fell and I landed, I didn't want to move, but I knew I had to make sure she was all right.
So where was your face?
Right around her shoulder.
Oh, you playing nice.
No, because she was in front of me facing that way, and she just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So but my buddy was laying right in comfort, and
Oh, your buddy. So it was 2-on-1. Hey,
No.
let's stop this conversation. This is not looking good for you,
my
bro.
buddy.
Oh, that's
buddy.
even worse. That's even worse.
Yes.
This is terrible.
So I had to get up and make sure she was all right.
Y'all do know we do talk about combat sports on this show. Just in case y'all tuning in and y'all trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
But that was a contact sport.
Blame this man. This man.
Really?
This man.
Anyways, what you got, therapy session?
Hey, man, so the word on the street is that your Dennis Ugas may be facing Terrence Crawford, bro. I like it. Ugas gave Sean Porter pure hell, and I was in the minority that thought that maybe Sean Porter didn't win that fight. Maybe he didn't beat Ugas, and Earl Spence didn't want no parts of Ugas, right? He said that Ugas is good, but nobody really knows him. Pretty much saying the risk ain't worth the reward, right?
Right.
He's took plenty of pictures with Keith Thurman. He was ringside for Thurman Pacquiao. Said he wanted either one, winner or loser. Nobody's really raising their hand to fight yours Dennis Ugas. Terrence Crawford is the odd man now. He's coming from across the street at Top Rank. That might be a fight they can make because they ain't got to pay Ugas that much. And Uncle Bob can pay Terrence, and we can make that fight happen, man. That's a sleeper fight. I still think that Kell Brook against Terrence Crawford, just because I think that Kell Brook is just, I think he brings some skill. But the problem with Kell Brook is if he is indeed damaged goods, then that fight's not really worth the wait. But Ugas against Crawford, Ugas is in his prime. He's got that Cuban background.
Yeah. Bud would eat Kell Brook up. Eat him up. Even if he's not completely damaged goods. I don't see Kell Brook being able to put up with all that Bud brings to the table.
But it's the thing, can Bud hurt him? Kell Brook can box. Listen, people forget how good Kell Brook was. Kell Brook undressed Sean Porter.
Bro,
undressed him.
I'm not saying that he can't box. I know Kell Brook can box. Kell Brook was outboxing Triple G until he got caught.
We knew what that was. Amir Khan was outboxing Canelo until we knew what it was.
But what I'm saying is, it's not going to be like that with Bud, because I don't believe Bud just jumped up and weight. I think Bud's frame allowed him to come to 47 and bring power with him. I believe Bud has been able to work on that and develop his power to transition successfully into 147. and continue with that speed and that tenacity, that dog, I just don't see Kell Brook having that dog that Bud has.
Hey man, listen, Kell Brook like to serve up chocolate brownies, man. Okay. Uh I'm not gonna discredit Kell Brook. Yeah, that's what he names his hands, chocolate brownies. That wasn't no weird joke. That's what he calls his hands.
What's he digging in?
Come on, man. Just go with it, bro.
Oh, okay.
Jeez, you always got so damn nasty, bro. It's so
I
uncouth.
asked the question. You call your hands chocolate brownies and you're a man.
You gotta relax, bro. But we saw no one is beating Sean Porter the way Kell Brook has. Nobody. That wasn't even a close fight. He thoroughly undressed Sean Porter. But you know, I'm happy the way Crawford against Ugas makes sense too. So we'll see. I just hope it happens.
Yeah, I hope it happens as well. Because that clears the way. Then some of then these PBC fighters that we we follow and we appreciate will really have to step up to the plate, in my opinion, if he beats Ugas, because none of them wanted to step up to the plate and face Ugas. So, excuse me, good move, good look for Bud Crawford on that one. I really believe so.
Yeah, we want Bud to be great, right? I mean, we know the type of person Bud is. I've encountered him on a couple different occasions. He's a real, you know, I guess I can say he's a thorough guy. Like what you see is what you get. Same thing with Earl Spence, though. I've been around both of them probably. No, I think I've been around Earl a few more times than Crawford, but both real stand-up guys, and both guys about that action. They about that smoke. So, you know, we want Bud to be great so we can see him and Earl getting on at some point. That'll be our Ray Leonard Hagler. Our Ray Leonard, our Ray Leonard Hagler, or that'd be that for us, or the Ray Leonard Duran. Like that would be our generation super fight, right? Because Floyd Pacquiao, there was some issues with that, right? But
the best part was the entrance,
yeah. But these two guys getting on in the near future will be dope. So I hope they make it happen. That'll be a good look
too. Hey, I want to address Lavelle Tomlinson's question. Get at us at the Fighter Share on IG. If you DM us with your contact information, one of us will be back in touch with you to find out how, and we can get you on here.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Definitely. So next up on the list, the fight that we were talking about, the MMA fight that I missed on Saturday, right? So yes. I finally saw the clip.
Yes.
I actually, believe it or not, and I know you're going to shake your head when I say this, in a weird way, I'm kind of conflicted. Yeah. I'm conflicted because the coach was a former fighter. So he knows. If he was just an armchair coach or just a coach with no fighting background, then of course not. But he knows. He's been training this kid for a long time.
And he and his manager ran down Sean Shelby over a period of time, according to Dana White. Sean Shelby, they ran him down, saying that this kid is the truth. He's the next one. You know, if you guys ain't scared, give him a shot.
So, can we unpack this for a second?
Mm-hmm.
So, there's two schools of thought here. One is that you signed up for a fight. You signed a legally binding contract, and you also signed some type of social and ethical contract, right? So you're not allowed to quit.
Yes, you are.
Hold on. You're not allowed to quit because in this particular sport, check me out now, in this particular sport, this is about morality.
Wait a minute.
And hold on. I'm talking about in combat sports. There is a code in all combat sports. I don't care if it's kung fu, taekwondo, boxing, MMA, wrestling, sumo wrestling.
I'm gonna take you back to one fight.
Hold on.
Okay.
But you can only give me outliers. That's the issue here. This is not the norm.
It's not the norm. But
So therefore,
nobody ever attacked the integrity of Roberto Duran when he said no mas and walked away.
Listen, Roberto Duran had already paid the cost to be the boss.
But he quit.
He did. And unfortunately for him, that is the biggest part of his legacy. Only real hardcore historians overlook that. Everybody else, when you say no mas, they know exactly what you mean. And that's the first thing people think of when Roberto Duran names comes up. Same thing with Oliver McCall. People forgot how good Oliver McCall was.
Yeah,
it only matters.
Lewis.
It only mattered because he did what? He turned his back and he cried on national TV.
Is
there's
that when they had the breakdown?
Yes. You just don't do those things.
But listen, bro.
And before you finish, like I told you yesterday on the show, I said, if that's the case, fake an injury.
But you just
we can't question whether you're actually injured or not. But when you quit, but when you just come up and say, I just don't want to fight, I quit. Come on, man.
So your actions should be based on so we have a better opinion of you. Listen, that kid may have gotten in that cage and had never been at that level. And maybe in his area, he was the big fish in the small pond. And he got in that level. We don't know how many fights that kid had before he got there. Mind you, his manager was politicking to get him in the UFC. So they had a last minute opening. They brought him in on the first fight of the undercard. Not usually somebody you're watching to see if they're going to really be a big, draw or something. We got to fill this card. So, hey, this kid's let's give him what he wants. Let's give him what his manager keeps asking for. So he shows up, he gets in there, and he realizes this ain't for me. I'm going to get hurt real bad. I say kudos to him for saying, look, I can't do this. I'm going to get hurt. I can't bump your moral clause. I'm trying to save my brain activity. So throw the towel in. We're going to get the loser share of the person anyway, because I can't beat dude.
All well and good, but I want you to keep the same energy if he never gets a shot again.
He probably won't.
So all that is for nothing.
Listen, but he again, if you're my manager, if you're my trainer, if you're the person who's looking out for my best interest while I'm in that cage, that's your behind. Because if I'm telling you I've got nothing, I can't do anything against him. If I actually say the words, please throw the towel in, and you don't have my best interest at heart, because I don't belong in there.
Well, wait a minute. You had to agree to the fight.
I did, and I got in there.
So that's what we're doing now. So now you agree to something, and now you just back out of it
again. This is an anomaly. This isn't something that normally happens. You already said it. So in this situation, you're responsible.
Why it's almost unforgivable, man. There's not a lot of integrity. I feel you. I dig it. But
there's more integrity.
This is the problem.
Saying I can't beat this kid, throw in the towel, I quit, than there is in saying, oh Lord, my shoulder.
We would have never known that. I just threw that out there for sake of discussion. We don't know. We would have never known if he was really hurt or not. We'd have never known. Honestly, we wouldn't have. Especially if he was getting worked the way you say he was getting worked.
But again, there's no need to even worry about that, or you worry about an excuse. This kid was brave enough to say, I can't beat this
He
kid.
Wasn't brave.
He was brave.
He was afraid.
He knew he couldn't win that fight.
He was afraid.
He couldn't do anything with him. He knew he was going to get hurt seriously.
Listen.
So would you rather have him suck it up, stay in there, and get carried out? Yeah, you would.
Listen.
You say fighters go out on their shield.
Listen,
this kid
what did he learn from this experience? What did he learn?
Get his behind back in there again. That's what he learned. That's what he learned. And then my manager really don't give a crap about me.
Oh, wow.
That's what he learned.
There's always a good job for him at Amazon. His fighting days are done. I wouldn't pay a nickel to see him ever again.
Ever. Well, good thing we didn't have to pay a nickel to see him this time. He was on the prelims.
That's a bad look. But yeah, so we agree disagree on the journey, but the destination is still the same. So
if I ever get in a fight
that's cool.
in the ring, or you can't be my corner man. I'm hanging on the ropes talking about throw it in. No, dude, hang it.
Bro, I wouldn't listen. You know, I manage a couple of guys. I would never advise guys getting in if they're not ready.
Right.
If you're not ready, don't fight, bro. Like, don't do that because there's more harm in the loss than it is the lesson. Just don't get in there, bro.
2 points. We don't know if that kid said he was ready or if his manager threw him into the wolves too early.
Listen,
Wait a minute. We don't know. We don't know. You trust your manager. The trainer tells you you're ready for this kid. You're ready for this. So we don't really know. We don't know all the parameters. All we know is the kid wanted to quit, and when he went to his corner, he made it through the round. He quit.
So what I took away from this is, one, don't let your manager sign your contract. Oh, his manager didn't sign his contract. He signed it. Secondly, stop giving these guys easy cakewalks up through the ranks, because that's what initially did it, was his undoing.
Yeah.
He was afraid because he got in there with somebody that he couldn't intimidate, or somebody he felt like he just couldn't walk right out there and beat. This kid's had enough fights, amateur and pro, for that not to happen. This was not his first fight.
But we don't know. Like you said, they have to have at least 3 or 4 amateur fights. It's 3 or 4. But if you're in a weak area and you get some cupcakes and you build yourself up because you look good in the gym, it's a combination. I'm not putting it all on his trainer and all on his manager. He's culpable for some of this as well. But what I'm saying is, hey, the kid knew he couldn't handle it. He quit. He's not coming back. Let him throw the towel in for him. He's not coming back. You're going to get the same amount of money if he quits in the middle of the round as you are if he makes it to the end of the round. What if he had got knocked out or severely hurt? Then you'd be sitting there talking about, hey, the corner didn't do their job. No, they didn't do their job.
Listen, Felicia Spencer got her ass whooped for 5 rounds, and we talked about how her corner should have saved her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to leave that right there.
Some people are still saying Breland should have saved Wilder earlier.
Wilder kept wanting to fight, though.
Right.
I'm just saying, it's just not a good look.
Me too. It's 6 of one, half a dozen in the other.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Anyways, what's next?
Did you see the police officer that tweeted that basically taking on all challengers because he got tired of the rhetoric about him hiding behind a badge and a gun? So he got on Twitter and all of his muscles, right? He's a one of those weightlifting guys, right? One of those bodybuilder cop guys, right? Mm-hmm. Like to pose real good for the calendars that sell to the ladies and stuff, right? So he gets on his Twitter soapbox and he goes in like a full, I want to say like a whole 2-minute video, or at least a minute and a half, where he's just, for all you BLM people and Antifa people that want to scream and yell at cops and say we hide behind our badges and our guns. Well, how about when you see me, you run up on me, I take off my badge and I put my gun down and we square up. As a matter of fact, if you want this, just hit me up. We can meet right here at the ring, because he's in some gym working out, right, lifting weights, and I guess there's like a boxing gym somewhere. What he didn't know was that this environment is not very conducive to police officers. So what he didn't know was that his tweet was going to go viral. And what he did know was that unlike when police assault, for what we all intents and purposes have seen, unarmed and pretty much non-threatening people, that some people that actually know how to fight was going to accept his challenge. And one of the first people that responded with, "I'll beat your mother A," was Erickson Lubin. Then the cavalry came. Steve Cunningham, Eric Kelly, the Fox brothers. Bro, it was a couple of MMA dudes. Like, you just seen blue checks just popping up, right? Oh, that's what you want to do? Well, send me your address, I'm gonna pull up. And then quickly, Within a matter of hours, the cop records another video.
Uh-huh.
And the first video, he was just all, kind of intimidating. He was talking with a whole lot of bass in his voice. Just, real, the whole perception of what he would do to somebody.
Real G.
Man, his second video, his voice went up a couple of octaves. He seemed to be talking more sensibly. He was just like, look, guys, I don't know what you thought I meant by that tweet, but I didn't say I want to fight you guys. I was just simply saying that people shouldn't be disrespecting the police and that they think we're cowards. They don't really have an idea what we go through on a daily basis. When I say he was backpedaling faster than Deion Sanders, bro, you should have seen it. It was amazing. I was like, damn, that's all it took. So, yeah, that was definitely interesting. That made my Twitter day a couple days ago. It was great.
I'd have put it on this show. I would literally have put the link up so they could read the tweet.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, that was
insane, bro.
Yeah.
He got what he wanted, though. He got what he was asking for.
No, that ain't what he signed up. That ain't what he wanted. He wanted me or you to say something. He ain't want them boys in blue checks to say something. Right. Them boys that get paid to lay hands and feet on people. He ain't want them to say something. So, yeah, that was hilarious. So,
I got my money on Lubin.
I got money on everybody with a blue check against a cop. Bro, people don't realize, now you have a small population of police officers.
Right.
That can handle themselves. When I say a small percentage, I'm talking probably like maybe 10% at best. And those 10% can handle themselves primarily because they're probably in good shape, right? You got the Mike Lowrys out there that just, they just kind of train. They just want to look the part. But they have good cardio. So if it gets into a scrum and they fighting with somebody that don't know anything, they'll probably come out on top, right?
Yeah.
And they usually have a teammate with them to help with the assist. But, man, you talking about people that do this for a living, bro? You don't stand a chance. Like, the worst thing that they done for police is to over-militarize them and give them weapons and all kind of vests and stuff. Granted, we want to save cops' lives and all, but that made cops lazy. Like, what happened to cops having to be in some type of shape other than round? Like, most cops you see don't look like they can physically handle themselves at all, which is why I think leads to them being more quick to pull out their firearm and use it.
Yeah.
I'm already intimidated by most people I'm encountering because I myself am not in physical shape.
Right.
But I got an itchy trigger finger and I can aim pretty good.
Bro, did you hear about the with Brian Dugan? TPD chief of police said happened Saturday morning, I think it was.
Was this the incident where the young lady got pulled over because they thought she was driving? Okay.
No, that I wanted to talk about, but this one was where these cops got ambushed here in Tampa.
Really? No, I didn't know about that.
Somebody sent me the article. It said the chief of the Tampa Police Department says his officers were ambushed early Saturday morning. TPD Chief Brian Dugan says officers were called to the intersection. Now, this should have given you a clue. The intersection of 15th Street North and 26th Avenue East for a report of shots fired with a possible victim. Okay. So he says when the officers arrived, hundreds of people had all four intersections completely blocked as they attempted to find a victim. The crowd became aggressive. In this humble person's opinion, you might have wanted to call for backup when you saw there was a crowd at the corner of 15th Street North and anything. Doesn't matter what the cross section is. Okay. Let's see, there were hundreds of them. Hundreds. We ended up having to call every single police officer that was available that night to respond there from New Tampa to South Tampa, Dugan said.
They ain't playing, man.
He said more than 100 officers came in to help. 2 were injured. 1 hit on the side of the head and taken to the hospital, and another hit with a glass bottle on the back of his head. Both officers are expected to be fine. Listen, I'm going to start this off by saying I don't condone violence on a police officer. I don't condone violence on anybody. But Dave Chappelle said at the midline of his special, I don't need to go out and speak for the people. The streets are speaking for themselves. The streets are speaking for themselves. Now, if anybody is familiar with that area, this is the same area. Was it back in 2010, 2009, where Jennifer Porter, a white woman with around age 22, 23, came through in her little SUV and hit 4 black children who were crossing the street, drugged them and killed 2 of them. Same area. When you start talking area-wise, not the same block, but the same area. That one happened on 5th, around 22nd and 131st. But you're not talking that far from 15th and 26th Avenue where they're talking. You got to understand the climate around those areas. It's not conducive for police because of the way they come in there. So it didn't say any of the people were arrested in the mob. I think the cops just wanted to get out of there. They never found a victim. They just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm all for the protests. I am. Am I for the rioting and the looting? It depends. What I will say though is this is not going to end well for a lot of people.
No,
because at this point, it's almost becoming a situation where you're asking for what you really don't want, and that's more innocent people to be killed. And not only are you going to see more innocent people being killed by the cops, what you're also going to see is people that actually need help in emergencies and
they're not going to get it.
Yeah. So I would like for people to be a little bit more forward thinking, a little bit more insightful about what they're trying to do here. Because at this point, it's just, you're not going to be able to win. You're not going to be able to win. Because they'll just stop showing up altogether.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
that happened before.
Because what they do know is that you're not going to come to their part of town and do it. So they'll just let complete lawlessness set in. And you don't want that. And they did that a lot in the whole segregation integration area in the 50s and 60s. They completely put all police out of black neighborhoods, and the black officers that were traditionally controlling the black neighborhoods put them in white neighborhoods and left the black neighborhoods with no type of police presence. And then they infiltrated those same neighborhoods with drugs and guns, and you saw what happened. Mm-hmm. So you don't really want to do that, but that my friend is a rabbit hole for another conversation another day. But yeah, that's not a surprise, man. And listen, they're not going to tell us how many of these incidents happen around the nation. You think Tampa's the only city that's doing this? I'm pretty sure this is happening in every major metropolitan area in this country.
But I stand corrected about one thing. That wasn't the same area where Jennifer Porter hit the children.
Okay.
It wasn't. Listen, in Baltimore in 2004, there were some areas, Cherry Hill, Jackie Brown, there were some areas in Baltimore where the cops would not, the ambulance, the mailman would not go in those areas.
Yep.
They would tell you, if you get shot, you need to make it as far as this point before we can help you.
And that's not cool. That's not a situation you want to be in. And before we switch gears, the whole Jennifer Porter situation, I think I was a junior at South Florida that year, and I remember when that happened. And I remember that she drove home with the blood still in her car.
Yeah, and washed it off.
And her dad helped her clean it off. And did she ever do a day in jail?
No, because Barry Cohen, and people praised him when he died, bastard, was her lawyer, and got to the point where they didn't charge her. They didn't bring her in
because her family had taken money, right?
Right, which had nothing to do with the criminal suit.
No.
But that was Tampa.
Yep.
That was Tampa. I'm trying to remember who was the chief of police in 2004. Who was the chief of police in 2004?
I don't remember.
Could
But
it
if you
be
go through that neighborhood now, the remnants of that accident are still there because what they did was they came in and put in a whole bunch of street lights and speed bumps and stuff. So they tried to make it safer, but that should have been in place long before she killed those kids. And it was just unfortunate. And there was no social media back then. If it was, the city might have been on fire then.
people knew? They actually protest. They had it was all over public access. It was all over the news.
Yeah.
But it was the spin that was put on the regular news.
Yeah, but social media
Right.
does something a little bit different. Yeah.
Well,
So
I know this was before your time, but it was all over MySpace.
yeah.
But for some reason, MySpace
MySpace is
didn't command the same movement that
right.
Instagram.
And Facebook, because it was
Facebook.
very early on, and MySpace was a first attempt at social media. But what was interesting about MySpace is it was still, and I'm trying to get the right wording here, but MySpace was a situation where you only went on people's pages that you knew. It wasn't the social thing that Facebook and Instagram became, right? There was nothing that was viral. There were no live audio or video clips that was able to be shown on MySpace. It was all just pictures and captions. So I don't know. Maybe it had a little something to do with it.
Possible.
But shifting gears, man. What about your boy Lamar Jackson coming out saying that, oh, we underestimated the Titans, and then his daddy coming out today saying, hey, we didn't underestimate the Titans. They were just a better team. So, Raven fan, how do you feel about that? Y'all were underprepared? Y'all wasn't ready? It looked like y'all wasn't ready. I believe Lamar. I don't think y'all was ready.
I believe Lamar too. I watched the game. The coach is never going to say we're not prepared.
Right.
Never going to say we're not prepared. Even
Right.
if he believes it in his heart.
That's his job.
It's his job to prepare them.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's cut and dry. I believe Lamar. He was right. Nobody came out and spoke against him who went to battle with him. Now, the coach, yeah, he's got to say that. But the only coach that could get away with not saying that, when that was a couple of years ago, would have been Bill Belichick. But no, Harbaugh, he's not going to be able to get away with that. So I believe they took them lightly. All they got is a running game. Well, that running game walked the dog out of us.
Yeah, they did it to everybody the whole year. So how did you? You didn't see the game before that? The week before?
But again, didn't we face them earlier that year, if I'm not mistaken?
Did they beat y'all?
No.
I think they didn't. Oh, okay.
They didn't have Ryan Tannehill either, and nobody counted on Tannehill showing up doing anything.
Tannehill got a mean handoff game, don't he?
He sure does. And eventually, if once in a while, he could throw that quick 10-yard out.
Oh, that quick slant.
Yeah, that quick
Because
slant.
you got 15 in the box, no help on the back end.
Yes.
Yeah, it's open. That's the easiest throw he can make, right?
But I don't see Tennessee getting back there this year to where they.
Hey man, listen.
We'll
one
see.
thing that we do know about football in particular, in all major sports, but especially football, it's a copycat league.
Yes.
I think the NFL is going to start transitioning soon here. It's not just the Titans. Look at what the 49ers did. These teams came in with power running games and got creative schemes off that. Hey, football had gotten kind of soft there for a while.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if we see more teams start going towards this because everybody's still in this past happy trend. Hey, man, you get physical with these teams, man. You can beat them down.
That's exactly what I was going to say. My buddy always tells me, man, you should be coaching. You should be coaching. And every offensive scheme that I've designed, I always had one constant, no matter if I did power or straight up five-man line with three. I always had a fullback in my design. I always had a fullback because that's the quickest handoff you can make. It's the hardest for a linebacker to react to. And if a linebacker has to react to a fullback, now if you have a running quarterback and a really good tailback, or even just an above average tailback, that gives them more time to get to the outside, get to the perimeter, or follow that fullback in the hole. And like you said, because so many teams are using this spread offense now, the defenses, that's what you practice against. So you're not ready when that guy comes up and he at 200 and what was Derrick Henry 400 pounds
A lot.
smacks you in the mouth
Yeah.
every time. You're not ready for that. The best fullback in the last 20 years. I mean,
Larry Sinners.
no,
Oh.
Lorenzo Neal.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. I don't know how I forgot that. Yeah.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I was so mad when he got away from us, and he
Larry Sinners was good too, though.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
and so was Daryl Johnston.
Moose. Yeah. Moose was
Yeah,
good.
I'm not taking anything away from him.
Right.
Lorenzo Neal was he was that ilk
Yeah. He
from
was tough.
the old days when you had them fullbacks that didn't even need a face mask or teeth. My coach, that's I mean, Mike Allstat was a good fullback, but he was more of a tailback in a fullback's body.
Okay, let's not talk about Mark Allstott. I'm
Well,
good
I'm not
on
putting
that.
him. I'm honestly, even though he got a ring with the Bucks, I'm not putting him on that level with Lorenzo Neal or Larry Sanders. I wouldn't even put him on the level with Moose Johnston.
We're not gonna win that conversation. Let's just.
What do you mean?
We're not, like, people gonna give us crap for that, and it's cool. But listen, here they love Mike Allstott. Listen, they love Mike Allstott here. So
do.
that's not even. Listen. I don't even feel like having that conversation with those people because they don't know football. I'm gonna leave that right where it's at.
All right.
Hey, before we wrap up though, man.
Oh,
my boy, John Jones is gonna fight Mike Tyson. What is going
Wait a
on
minute.
here?
Last time you said you kept calling him my boy. I'm glad you took ownership.
Yeah, man.
Because
John Jones. Listen, John Jones is showing his real blackness right now, right? He went into the store with his daughters yesterday, and he had a pair of pants he was getting ready to buy, and the pants said black, and around underneath it, the pants said negro. And he said, you know what? I know that negro means black in Spanish, but I'm sensitive right now. I just don't like this right now. So I'm all for John Jones right now until he do some stupid shit. So yes, he is my guy right now. That's it. Yes. He gonna let me down, I know it. But I'm riding with him for right now. And then when he do, then you can take him back. He'll be your boy.
I like him. He's done two good things. He took the spray paint can from the guy in New Mexico who was trying to deface property, and he did this. I'm right, and you said you were retiring. You're good with me. You're good with me.
Hey, but they're trying to offer $100 million to fight Mike Tyson though.
Dude, I would stand no chance. I would get in the ring.
He
Put my
said
glasses on.
he said that he would love to give it a shot, but he loves and respects Mike so much that if he gets in the boxing ring, then Mike will have to get in the octagon, but he won't break anything.
That's a lie.
Those are his words.
Mike hit you one good time. You trying to break that arm?
Yeah.
I
You rocking with John Jones? That's the John Jones eye right now.
I think John could. I don't know if he can hold his own in the ring with Mike.
You know the problem is, as great as John Jones is, he's not a boxer.
No.
So a lot of his natural movements, I just think he get lined up.
It's symmetry. There's a reason why you fight in an octagon and not a squared circle. That ring, because you have four corners, those corners can hem you up, John. They can hem you up. You can't roll out of them as easily against a professional as you can through the octagon. You don't have as much room. You got four symmetrical sides boxing you in.
Yeah.
And it changes the way people think. McGregor had no business in the ring against Floyd, one. But two, it wasn't even his element. It wasn't even his element.
Well, listen, the whole conversation about Conor McGregor, me and you have talked about this ad nauseum. As much as I like Conor McGregor, and in fact, he has a pretty good straight left hand, I'm a firm believer. This is not, listen, I don't want anybody to think I'm taking anything away from Conor because I'm not. Conor can fight his ass off. Mm-hmm. But let's not act like Conor didn't get hand-picked opponents to get him to where he was.
Right. Correct.
Because what we saw from Conor, we could have saw that a couple of years ago. But they wasn't going to let that happen at the time. So, I mean, but hey, it's a business before it's anything else. So yeah. I get it.
And he was the most recent great Irish champion. And say what you will, certain people rally behind the Irish. They do. They do. So it was a good money move for Dana to make sure, just like Ronda Rousey. I
Yeah.
mean, as much as I was a fan of Chris Cyborg and I'm appreciative of Amanda Nunes, they ain't gonna look as good on camera as Ronda Rousey for the mainstream audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously.
You know, and certain things just still don't sell as well. So he made sure Ronda was able to run that train.
We're not as progressive as we like to think that we are.
We're not. Now I ain't gonna say New Year's, all right, but
yeah, but
my wife thinks so too.
When I right, but when I say progressive, we can go so many different ways with that. So
yeah,
you know, like the great Michael Wilbon said today on PTI when he was ripping into whoever the other guest was on there today talking about NASCAR, and I want to touch on that a little bit too. This is going to be a fight. If you think that NASCAR is just going to change its colors and its stripes overnight, you are sadly mistaken. And you know, Wilbon is of an age where he knows, man. Wilbon was one of the only.
What idiot wouldn't realize this?
The public.
First of all,
the public.
We were talking about we're part of the public, and we know.
No, I'm talking about the general public that doesn't make up a lot, that doesn't look like us.
Listen, the Civil War ended when?
A long time ago.
No. I mean, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1865.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it was more than that. It was
a while before, yeah.
Right. So think about how long they held on to slavery when they lost the war. They hold on to that flag as if they won. Because it's a form of intimidation. You didn't think it was going to go away, right? Because the hardcore NASCAR fan who is racist doesn't care about inclusion.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, they're in their comfort zone.
So they don't see a lot of us, definitely not on the track. And they see a few of us sprinkled in the stands. What's Daytona seat? Like 140,000?
A lot.
Something
like that. A lot
of
people.
When I went to school over there for a semester, that place always impressed me.
It's a marvel. Yeah, it's a marvel to see, man.
Yeah.
It is.
And when you fill that place up and in the infield and you fill up the campgrounds and bro, it's you're talking about a culture that was built on that flag.
Oh yeah.
So you take something from them, they're going to try to find a way to take something from you. That's just the reality of it. Yeah. I learned about that flag real up close and personal in Brooksville, Spring Hill. I just say Hernando County. I had, up close personal experiences with it.
Yeah.
I don't fear it, but I understand some people love it more than they do the American flag.
Yeah. It's the world we live in, brother, but
Oh, before we get away from this, what you think about Dana White talking about hearing Amanda Nunes might retire? And Dana White made the statement.
Say it again, I lost you for a quick second.
Oh, what do you think about Dana White saying that he heard talk of Amanda Nunes may retire and he'd kill her if she decided to retire?
It doesn't listen. Dana White has kind of made it a thing to just kind of be off the cuff and say whatever the hell he wants to say.
Mm-hmm.
And because the Zuffa brothers allow him to be the face of the organization, and because that's kind of how his fan base feels, he gets away with a lot of things that he shouldn't say. I know he's not going to kill Amanda Nunes. I never thought that much about it. I think she probably actually kick his ass in a fight. So I'm not really sold on that, other than the fact that he's another guy just says, some people like that. Hey, don't be apologetic. Say what's out there. Say what's on your mind. Speak it and own it. And he does every time. So whatever. It's just Dana being Dana, I guess.
Just the thought of if she retires, Cejudo's gone. Um, Cormier and Miocic, we kind of feel like either way they're going to be gone.
They're out the door.
Jones said he's gone.
He's out the door.
Um,
I already see where you're going with this, and I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, it's
I don't know.
you know Nunez is ruling two weight classes. Cejudo had two weight classes. Um, Jones had one on lockdown for a decade almost. Miocic and Cormier are the only two legitimate title contenders, champions. Either way you switch them at heavyweight, there's really gonna be no one left. It's gonna be like the early 2000s. There's not gonna be a lot of people left to watch.
Yeah, and this is, but you know,
Your audio went out, bro. There you go.
this is where the parody of the UFC will actually kind of save him a little bit because you know they care about losses, but it's not like boxing. So he'll have time to scramble somebody up. I would hope he's already trying to do that now, but everybody keeps getting beat, so I don't know. But but he'll be all right. And look, the best thing that happened to the UFC was COVID. So this will be okay. If this goes on for another 6 to 8 months, he'll be okay. He'll have time to figure it out.
Good luck, because he sure knows how to recycle champions or contenders. And he'll have a pay-per-view. That's where I give him credit. He's been able to have pay-per-views with no champions in the past.
Yeah, it's the
They build up some of these guys with so much hype that they get fan bases.
yeah, but you gotta look at it too, bro. It's almost like a culture. See, this is the thing about MMA that boxing never had to go through. Boxing never had to introduce itself to an audience. Boxing was always here.
Mm-hmm.
MMA had to introduce itself in the late 80s, early 90s under a different name before it became mixed martial arts. And it had to introduce itself. So what happened was it was a niche sport that grew, and guess what? It grew with what? Social media. When MMA and the UFC started skyrocketing, you're talking about 06, 07, 08, 2009, 2010, all that, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all these platforms. So,
And they use public television. The biggest one of
yeah.
3 events happened. Now you're a student at this, so you can probably correct me if I'm wrong. But 3 events happened to save the UFC. Each time it seemed like it wasn't going to cut it. When it first started, Ultimate Fighting Championships, when it was just in the cage and they really didn't have any rules, it was almost dead in the water because the newness, what's the word I'm looking for? The spectacular part
The luster.
the luster was gone.
Yeah.
So then Dana White comes in with the Zuffa brothers and they buy it. And he was a former boxing promoter. And they took it and they put rules to it and they kind of made it so, it's going to sound funny, but they made it so America could catch up to it. They made it so the guys who might not have been your good enough boxers, and there really wasn't anywhere for wrestlers to go to make money. And well, not in this country. They had circuits, but you had to be among the best of the best of the best of the best to get on those circuits.
You spot on. You're right on with this.
And then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's designed for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And that wasn't going to really take off in this country. Because it's not you do this now, so you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. But I've heard from so many different practitioners that BJJ is not designed for the street.
Nah, you don't ever want to be on your back in a street fight.
Right.
Yeah.
And America, if it wasn't like one of the big 3 or 4 sports, the next sport in line, high school and college, was wrestling. And wrestlers are not taught to get on their back. They're taught to stay off their back. So when you took this sport and you were able to blend these faculties, mind you, the one thing they did not encourage to come into there was boxing. They did not encourage boxers to come into the UFC. Then they got to the point where they had the Ultimate Fighter TV show, because they were doing all these shows going around the country, but people weren't necessarily buying big pay-per-views from them. When Tito Ortiz was their flagship bearer. Then you get into the Ultimate Fighter TV show. Couldn't remember that last time we tried to talk about it. And then you have all these different champions who have come off of that show. They were able to find these guys from around the country who couldn't get to the next level, like Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner, Rashad Evans, Michael Bisping. All these guys were coming off of the Ultimate Fighter TV show, and they were getting a jump start into the UFC. And then when Dana was able to broker a deal with the new owners of UFC, as they carried them in through these big UFC pay-per-views, and they were doing one pay-per-view a month, and they were making money hand over fist. And then when he signed the deal with ESPN, because people could find it on Fox Sports 1, they could find it on, all these different channels. You could find UFC Fight Night or UFC Unleashed. But now he was able to centralize them in one place, which has made it easier, especially during this COVID process, to find UFC now, because it's going to be in one place. ESPN or ESPN Plus. Or UFC
or
Fight.
Their network. Yeah.
Yeah,
or
UFC
their network.
Right, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's brilliantly navigated it and kept himself employed. That's why he's worth $500 million.
Hey, and before we get out of here on this one, bro, did you see where they've picked up a bunch of other incubator leagues now? I think they picked up LFA, Legacy Fighting Alliance. Wow. They picked up I think they re-signed Invicta, because I think they had kind of let Invicta go. Man, you got all these. They gave Roy Jones Promotions another re-up. Bro, UFC Fight Pass is picking up all these different little crumbs out here, man. They're going to be around for a while. It's going to be hard to get rid of those guys.
Yeah, they will be around for a while. Even if something happens to their league, they'll be around for a while.
Yep. So,
when you said Invicta, I'm like, oh, does that mean Mighty Mouse has a shot to come back?
He'll retire first.
Yeah. No, I think, because he can't get Cejudo. So, right. Yeah.
Yep.
Who he had beaten before. So they should have had a rubber match. But you got traded. So, no commissioner. That's what happens. Bro, great show, man. I thought I had a story for you, but I guess
therapy is needed.
I'll hold on to my story. What'd you think about the one last night?
It was all right, bro. That was all right.
I didn't get any hate mail about stuttering.
No, it was all right, bro. Like, I kind of knew where you were going with, but it was all right. It was all right.
Louis Grizzard told this story on a tape called The Party. I was 1991 when I first heard it. And if you ever get a chance, listen to it. If you have a sensitive wife or woman around you, listen to it by yourself. Because he does this whole layout of this thing called Big Woman. How big was she? And he just goes off. And I think the CD or the tape was done in the 80s or late 70s, early 80s, but I heard it in 91. And I heard this joke on there, and I'm passing it over to you, bro. Passing it over to you. So you have Jethro and Clem. And
you spoke too soon, Miss Darlene. You spoke too soon.
What'd she say? Aw, thank you. Well, we're going to dedicate this one to you too, Miss Darlene, because we love you. So you got Jethro and Clem. And Jethro has a stuttering problem. But he looks up to Clem. So Clem was talking to Jethro, and they were sitting on the beach, and Jethro was looking at all these pretty women walking by. And Clem said, "You want to get you one of them women?" And Jethro said, "Yeah." So Clem said, "Here's what you're going to do. Go get you a boat, bring the boat down there to the docks where all the other boats are, and just hang out by there. Pretty soon a pretty woman's going to come walking by. And what you do, you tell her, say you want to go for a ride. And when she says, yeah, you take her out about 10 miles. Not miles, but mile. You shut the boat off. You tell her, put out or swim. She gonna say no. But that's when you bring your captain's pistol out. Put out or swim. So he said, she's gonna do it. And then you could turn the boat back on and bring her back in the shore. First of all, never listen to anybody named Clem. So Jethro said, all right, Clem, I can do that. So Jethro went, got himself a boat, brought it to the marina, tied it up, sat there on it and waited. Sure enough, this nice, pretty young woman came walking by and said, "That's a nice boat." He said, do you want to go for a ride? And she said, sure. She got on the boat. He nervously cranked the boat up, untied it, pushed back, went out, and he got to about the 10-mile marker. He fidgeted with the ignition for a while and finally shut it off. And she said, "Oh, what's wrong?" And Jethro pulled out his pistol and said, "Put out or swim." And she said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Put out or swim." So she said, "My goodness, I didn't know you were that type of guy." So he cocked the pistol and said, take off your top." So she took off her top. He said, "Now, take off the bottoms." So she took off her bottoms. Clem said, "And what happened then, Jethro?" Jethro said, "Well, Clem, this odor hit me. It was so bad. Fish were coming up next to the boat. So I dropped my pistol and I upchucked overboard." And he said, "Well," Jethro said, or Clem said, "Well, Jethro, what happened then?" He said, she picked up the pistol and she said, "Eat it or swim." He said, "My goodness, Jethro, what'd you do?" Jethro said, "You ain't hear about nobody drowning, did you?" Really? 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 Really, bro? Really?
Yeah, bro. You know what, man? That wasn't half bad. The joke sounds a lot worse than it really is. I mean, you just pick on so many people. You just don't make any friends, do you? People with speech
I am not
impediments,
picking on anybody.
on women,
No, I did not.
Southerners,
Oh, I
people
know
that like
did.
boats. You attack everybody. You're an equal opportunity antagonist, bro.
I am not.
There you
And
go.
you know what? My dad was on here last night, Miss Darlene, and he did a good job. He did a great job on here for Father's Day. But I noticed the Badger in the past has called me a Yankee, but he didn't bring that Yankee stuff out last night. He said, "Well, I know you're from up north." But
Listen, your father gets the utmost respect. You, on the other hand,
come on,
we're gonna go back and forth.
come on. It was a good joke. Listen, she said, "Now it's complete." That's right. That's right. I want you to go to bed with a smile on your face. But the moral of the story is Listerine helps top and bottom. We got to keep them things clean. Got to keep them things clean. I mean, you're on a boat. There's a squeegee somewhere. Keep them things clean. Right. That's how his face was. So I'm gonna give a shout out to listen, we had some good people on here. Mr. Lavelle Tomlinson, Miss Darlene Chambers. Thank you all for tuning in, and the rest of Fighter Share Nation. Thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna turn it over to Rico Suave over there, and he can close us out.
Hey man, yeah, like my partner said, we appreciate everybody checking in and tuning in with us tonight. Everybody on the West Coast that's just not getting home unwinding. Thank you, everybody on the East Coast that's up late night with us. Thank you. Make sure you catch us every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday on the Beatdown at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and the Fighter Share Report every Wednesday and Sunday at 7 p.m. We thank y'all. Y'all stay safe. Fighter Share Nation, we out here.